It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, barely. And with me, as always, I've got Shawn Slaght and Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks, Gary.
You have to listen carefully. There's not a lot of voice to go around. And in Connecticut, I've got Muffler Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay. That's great. You can tell we're at the end of caroling season. Every year, without fail, this is the time when my body goes, ha, ha, ha. December, right? Nice. So here we are. But we had a slightly busy week. We had a few things to talk about as well. Just before we get rolling, of course, as always, just a reminder that all of our episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network, like Fly Like an Eagle, like Hardcore Sports, like Keep It in the Ring, Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, CFL shows, soccer shows, etc. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all of the shows on one of the Streampunk YouTube networks, which of course includes Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, and of course, All Lacrosse, all the time. If you come to our network, please share, tell everybody about us. Also, when you find us, you'll see that we have our library of shows, interviews, retro games, fights, including goalie fights, as well as much, much more, and more coming all the time. And remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkent.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, a reminder that our show is brought to you by 60. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and style sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Add Lax Talk 10 for a 10% discount on your order. To get to them, you can go either on the QR code on our screen or go to Instagram at sweet_60. Email them at info.sweet60@gmail.com or go directly to their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. Well, guys, a couple of things to take a look at right off the hop. First of all, the NLL signed yet another group, and in their press release, the National Lacrosse League announced a partnership with Octagon to serve as their exclusive representative for the league's media rights. The agreement comes at a pivotal moment as the NLL's current rights deal with TSN and ESPN following the 25-26 season. Octagon will guide the league through its upcoming rights negotiations and long-term media strategy as the NLL continues its significant trajectory of growth, digital expansion, and fan engagement. Partnering with Octagon marks an important next step in the evolution of our media strategy, said Brett Frood, as we approach the end of the current rights cycle. We are focused on broadening access to our sport, strengthening our digital footprint, and aligning with partners who share our ambition for growth. Octagon's expertise, relationships, have proven track record in global media rights, make them an ideal collaborator as we shape the next chapter of NLL distribution. Interesting. So there's going to be a lot more hands in the pot for this next negotiation. Hopefully it's a very long-term deal, and hopefully it's one that's helps the owners out, helps the players out, and more of a not pay-as-you-play kind of ideal. Eduardo's with us. Eduardo, good to have you here.
Eduardo.
Now, I'm not saying it's wet around here right now because usually we're talking about snow, but I just seen an arc go by my window. It's wet out there. It's been raining all day. Not exactly winter weather. Anyways, a few milestones to talk about. The biggest one coming with Randy Stotts. And he hit goal number 250 for his career. A couple of them in the Toronto Rock game. There had to be something to cheer about for the Rock. Brad Cree had 1,100 loose balls in his career. Nick Rose is now number 2 in the all-time list for games played as a Toronto Rock with 209, passing Whipper Watson at 208. Colin Doyle is the leader at 218. So by the end of this season, Nick Rose should be the number 1 person if all things stay the same. Toronto also had a signing this week of Dante Mancini from the Oakville Buzz to a 3-year contract and is now on the practice squad. Now, we have been talking this week about Jack Hanna. And at one point, he'd sign an offer sheet from Colorado as a restricted free agent. However, that meant that Vegas could match and did. So they did sign him. And then this morning, we got news of the trade that sent Jack Hanna to Colorado. And in return, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs got a compensatory first-round pick, 2026, first-round pick in 2027, and a second-round pick in 2028. That is a lot for one player. Mike, thoughts?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I'll kind of clarify the compensatory first-round pick that they're sending is the one that they're receiving from San Diego in the Connor Robinson trade. This is not the conditional first-round pick that they're getting from or that they're sending to Georgia in the Andrew Q. Connor Kelly trade. And it's important to make that distinction because the condition for that pick from the Q Kelly trade is that if Colorado finishes in the bottom 5 of the standings this season, that pick that they sent to Georgia comes back to Colorado as a first-round pick in 2028 instead of a conditional for next year.
Interesting. Shawn, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think kind of Mike brought it up off air. I'm almost thinking Colorado maybe paid a bit too much for Jack Hanna in this one. He is a very good player. Let's not beat around the bush on that. I don't know whether he's worth 2 first-rounders, though.
And a second.
That seems like, and a second-rounder.
That's pretty.
To boot.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah,
right?
it's a pretty hefty price tag to pay for him. But
kudos to Sean Williams for someone who's not going to play for them to be able to squeeze this much out of it when really his hands were to the.
Vegas is making
fire, eh?
gangbusters. I think they're set up pretty good now with a couple of first-round picks now off of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
I still think when your hands are to the fire or feet are to the fire. Jack Hanna has already, in his own statement, said it would be in his best interest to play in Colorado for outside things, work and other things. And that kind of limits where you can trade him. And he was still able to get 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder over the next couple of years. I think that's pretty masterful dealing.
Well, yeah, because it kind of puts the negotiation power on Las Vegas, right? Because, he asked if Colorado's the only one there. So, I mean, that fact, you got all the chips, right? Like, he wants to move, that's the price you're going to pay, period.
That's an excellent deal for Vegas, who, by the way, looked spectacular last night with their, shall we say, gelled lineup. Landon Kells is probably the most underrated goalie in the NLL at the moment because he played a spectacular game. He faced 50-plus shots and really stoned the Rock. and the score being 17-11, is a lot closer than the game I watched. A couple of goals in the last couple of minutes made it a lot closer. And also, the first half, maybe, even though things were getting away from Toronto. But the second half, you want to see what Vegas can do. Well, just take a look at what they did between the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth. And you went from fairly close to see you later. So now with 3 more first-round picks, or 2 first round and 1 second, over the next couple of years, the rich just got richer. I'm thinking back to a Saskatchewan team in around 2016-17, a Georgia team 2017-2018, who had this bundle of picks and was able to use them to keep on top for a number of years. And it looks like Sean Williams has found this after a number of tries and a number of attempts the other way around. Thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to look at it from Colorado's perspective, and yeah, I've got that. I've got the little banner down there. The fact that we're already hearing about this is wild to me. For Colorado, I mean, even if they overpaid, they're getting, like Shawn said, a decent player. Is he, top 10 player in the league? No. But they're in dire need of help on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And pretty much if Colorado was going to tank, which, this is not something that we see in this league. If they were going to do that, they wouldn't have made this deal. They would have kept the picks. They would have, just wrote it out. And, so, I don't think, they have any intention of finishing in the bottom 5. Though, they do have a pretty difficult schedule the next 4 or 5 weeks. Which certainly could see them, by the halfway point of the season at, 1-7. But certainly this doesn't look like a move of a team that's, looking to end in the top, end in the bottom 5 just so they can get that pick back that they said to Georgia, which is, again, it's 3 years out.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess that's why I've kind of scratched my head about the tanking, because even if you tank, it's not going to do you. Like you said, it's not going to do you any good until 3 years out anyway. So it's
term.
The short term is not going to help you any.
Yeah, I don't see them tank, especially the way they played this weekend. They're not doing anything in that realm. They're actually looking to get stronger in the now, not in the future. And this is a big chunk, and which will really help their offense out immediately. So, I think it's the opposite of a tanking.
Yeah, and let's put something else into perspective. We had this other trade that involves that pick that can revert back to Colorado, if they finish in the bottom 5. Right now, both the players that were traded are not on the floor. Andrew Q is injured, and Connor Kelly's on the holdout list for Georgia. So, it's not like this was some sort of planned or anything like that. I'm sure Colorado would love to have Andrew Q back in their lineup as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously. He is such a big part of their offense, as seen so far this year in preseason, etc. And he is such an integral spark to any offense he's part of that they're going to want him back immediately. All right, why don't we get into some of these games? The first game, of course, was Halifax. And what a game.
Yeah.
Shawn? That was a barn burner.
Yeah. Probably what we were somewhat expecting out of these teams. I mean, they're definitely the upper echelon of this league, as we expect. And again, some great goaltending on both sides. Frank Chiliano and Warren Hill looked outstanding, and really, like I said, back and forth game. Penalty filled. That's probably not too much of a surprise. 14 power plays between the two teams. Saskatchewan 4 for 8 on the power play, which is probably a huge thing for them, getting that man advantage and taking advantage of Halifax taking penalties. And it really came down to last minute and 2 seconds left in the game, and the former Thunderbird, who seems to now be the Thunderbird killer, Austin Shanks, scores the game winner again against his former club, to give Saskatchewan a 10-9 win. Other kind of keynotes, Matt Accioni. What's that, sorry?
It's hard to think that that's an upset, but, so far this season, they're the first loss for Halifax.
Well, it's funny because, we talk about all those, fourth quarter meltdowns that Saskatchewan keeps having. Didn't really happen this time around. They remained kind of a back and forth game right into the fourth.
Right. Interesting.
And the other thing too is, Saskatchewan, again, their transition play really was a difference maker as well. Matt Accioni showed his wheels this time around with a pair of transition goals. I believe it was, Ryan Keane also had one on transition as well, off a long pass from Mike Messenger. So again, Saskatchewan, when they play their game and push the pace, it just plays right into their hand.
Right. It's not to say Warren Hill didn't have a spectacular game. He had 44 saves.
No, he played great. I thought he had a great game. Like I said, both goaltenders really had a great game. It just came down to who could put the ball in the net last in this one, really.
Right. Yeah, this is a great way to kick off the week because, I can see this down the road as a, if not a final, a semifinal, something like that.
Yeah. And, these two teams meet again next weekend in Saskatchewan, so the bad blood
That's
will
where some
spill
of the
over.
rough stuff comes in, right? It's setting messages for next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget, there's a lot of that in the schedule this year, where the home and homes are back to back, and there's even a couple of instances where it's doubleheader home and home on the same weekend.
And I'll say I don't mind that. It adds to the rivalry, right?
Yeah. No, I think they've done a great job with the schedule so far.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The league, the last couple of years have really been bang on, and I don't know how they're doing it down the stretch, but it's working out perfectly. That there's a lot of interest in the games at the very end, where years past, you kind of sit there with a yawn going, the last 2 weeks don't mean anything. So here we've got almost every game last year meant something at the end.
Yep.
Kind of like PLL. Well, right down to the last minute of the last game, it still mattered.
Yeah. And just kind of going back to this game, the fact that it was such a close scoring game, I expect the emotions are going to be running high in game 2, especially for Halifax, wanting to feel like, they let one slip away on them.
Right. Well, our second game of the week, I want to hold off on the Philadelphia one because Pat's supposed to be joining us, and let's see if he does. But the Toronto-Las Vegas game, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, though Toronto got the first goal, a lot of end-to-end action in the first half of the first quarter, back and forth, and at good towards speed from both teams. Toronto's defense looked real good to start, really stopping a potent Las Vegas Desert Dog, high-octane, high-flying offense. Josh Jubenville opened the scoring with just a pretty goal. A dish from Latrell Harris to Jubenville, who dove across the crease to beat Lanning Kells to make it 1-0. But that was it for Toronto. The rest of the first quarter was all Las Vegas. Chase Fraser with a pair of goals back-to-back, followed by Mitch Jones with just an absolute corner cutter, just absolute laser to the corner, beating Troy Holochuk was in net to start this game. Why, I don't know, but he was. But this will change midway. A name we'll hear a lot in this recap to open up the second was CJ Kirst. And he scored off a Chris Boucher pass to bring Toronto within 1. Well, Vegas gets going, and Sean Wesley, followed by Chris Kluche with a beautiful outside shot. And it's 5-2. And it really looks like Vegas is having their way with Toronto. They are doing all the little things and frustrating Toronto. Toronto is taking penalties. Josh Dawick, with about 3 minutes left in the half, finally finds pay dirt from the outside off a Mark Matthews pass. And then just a couple of seconds later, Challen Rogers from the outside catches corner off a CJ Kirst pass, and it was 5-4. And it looked like, well, as bad as they played, they're in this thing. Mitch Jones scores with under a minute to go, and it's 6-4 at the half. Still attainable. Still a close game. And Toronto's still not playing their best lacrosse by a long shot. So, of course, when you come out of the dressing room, you want to make a statement, right? Well, they made a statement. They took a penalty right off the bat. And Chase Fraser made him pay a minute and a half into the period. And it was 7-4. John Lafontaine then on a coast-to-coast off a Tony Malcolm pass made it 8-4. Chris Kluche then made him pay for the next penalty that they took off a Mitch Jones feed, and it was 9-4, starting to get out of hand. By the way, as Chase Fraser got the first goal, Nick Rose stepped in net for Troy Holochuk, who apparently needed to get a tape job, but it was the longest tape job I've ever seen because it took almost 2 quarters for him to come back in the nets. So it's 9-4. Toronto, not to be outdone, their defense steps up. Jubenville with his second, followed by Hugh Kelleher with his first career NLL goal. And then CJ Kirst with his second of the night. And all of a sudden it's 9-7. And we have a game. Well, what's the best way to take the air out? Adam Poitras converts a Mitch Jones pass. And whoop, 10-7. CJ Kirst gets his third of the night. With just 48 seconds left in the quarter. But to take the air out of the sails again, with just 5 seconds left, Jackson Webster converts a John LaFontaine pass in transition, and it was 11-8 after 3. Heading into the fourth quarter, Jackson Webster was on fire. First of all, he was getting under the skin of not only the Rock, but the fans. He was jawing with people in the stands and having fun doing it. And, 27 seconds into the fourth quarter, Webster converts a Kluche pass for his second of the night. Bill Hostrauser takes a little exception to Webster jawing with some of the fans, gets a dead ball foul. And Webster himself scores the power play goal a minute 50 into the fourth quarter, making it 13-8. Mark Matthews gets one back with an absolute laser from the outside. But here comes Jonathan Donville, Sean Wesley, and Connor Kirst with goals for Las Vegas. And it is 16-9 with 4 minutes and 9 seconds left. And pretty much this is all she wrote. Also, the Kirst one was into an empty net because with 5 minutes left, we pull our goalie. I realize you're down by 5 or 6, but I don't think that was the smartest move, personally. Not the way everything been run all night. Owen Iltz scores He had been close all night and just missed a couple of posts, a couple of missed nets, and one called back goal for having a toenail in the crease. But he finally got on the board with 3:09 left in the game. But as seemed to be all night long, Adam Poitras comes back with just under a minute to go in the game and scores off a Drew Belgrave pass. With 12 seconds left, CJ Kurse gets his fourth of the night. And that's where you have it. Vegas wins 17-11. The stats on this one, Fraser had a hat trick, 3 goals, 3 assists. Jackson Webster had 3 goals and 2 assists. The big numbers were Jonathan Domfit with a goal, 5 assists. Mitch Jones, 2 goals, 2 assists. Chris Kluche, 2 goals and 5 assists. Sorry, Mitch Jones, 2 goals, 6 assists, right? Sean Wesley had a pair of goals and 2 assists as well. Landon Kells made 40 saves on the night, facing 51 shots, and just stoned them. But it was the MO again. Doesn't seem to matter who's on the team. Doesn't seem to matter who's coaching the team. The Toronto Rock is taking shots from the outside, regardless. Very seldom are they going inside. And if they are, it's usually one from trying from behind the net. That Chris Boucher play. I think everybody's figured that one out already, haven't they? They missed TD Erlin at the faceoff dot for sure. Because once again, they were badly out face-offed, 22-10. And every time they took a penalty, Vegas made them pay. Las Vegas went 3 for 3 on the power play, where Toronto went 0 for 1. Now, Holochuk came in for the last couple of minutes, but that's too late for anything anyways. But there's a number of questionable things. The Rock were going to question and challenge a goal and held on to their flag a little bit too long. So over 35 seconds or whatever, and couldn't get their challenge in. These are mistakes that just keep piling up on all aspects. Was this their finest game? No. By any stretch of the imagination. No. The only person who could say they had a good game really was CJ Kurse. He certainly has fit into the game. Sam English, not a bad game, not a great game. The one thing I can say is that the Toronto defense finally started stepping up. Elijah Gash was hitting anything that moved and then hitting him again when it didn't move. The Brad Cree was hitting hard too. So much so that he took a 5-minute penalty that upon review was found to be a clean thing, no penalty. You know, there's a couple of reviews like that where 5s became 2s and 5s became nothing, and you know, lots of reviews, lots of challenges and things like that. But overall, my take on this Las Vegas squad is they have learned to gel with each other. Obviously, Fraser and Kluche know how to play well together. Mitch Jones is playing very well with him as well. Sean Wesley is really good with him as well. Jackson Webster, who we've heard all about all summer long with Owen Sound, doing a bang-up job with Las Vegas and is fitting in very nicely into that offense. Heading back onto defense, their defense was fairly sealed tight. Frustrating enough that Toronto wasn't even bothering to try and go inside, or very seldom. So they have a little bit of thinking to do because their next game after a bye week is against San Diego in San Diego. Their game after that is in Rochester. Their game after that is in Georgia. And we'll get to that game soon. I think they found whatever's ailing them. So those are 3 very tough games back to back to back, all on the road. It was a great crowd for Retro Night. Hearing a lot of 80s music in there. Seeing a lot of 80s uniforms in there. I would have liked it if The Rock put on maybe one of their old uniforms as part of this retro night instead of wearing their new ones. Just a thought. But I don't think that would have had any help in the outcome. They were drubbed 17-11 in this game. Ugly. Alrighty. That's a good segue for this. Coming to you straight from Philadelphia. Yes, sir.
Hello, gentlemen, and I'll use this term loosely. What's going on? It's not good. It's not good. There's some good and bad I can actually take out of this game. Good. The good news is Brendan O'Neill stepping up, answering the call. What we've been asking for. What's his offense going to look like? He's going to be the guy who's going to have to answer the call and step up, and he did. 6 goals, 2 assists. Not a bad day for Brendan O'Neill. 2 power play goals back to back. Looked good, but again, we knew after the Ottawa Bears losing to the Desert Dogs, we knew that they were going to come out with a punch, in which they did. Do I like seeing Zach Higgins happy in the South Philly? No, I don't. But I can't knock the guy. He has every right to.
You weren't going to ruin his birthday, were you?
I
weren't going to ruin his birthday.
No, I wasn't. I'm the least of that guy's words. I'm not.
Today's his birthday, so what a present it was.
Congrats, getting a win of his old club. But no, I gotta give like I said, the Ottawa Bears put the foot on the gas pedal in the first quarter. The Wings kind of came back, gave them a battle, which I didn't see coming. And then they fell apart in the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened, but the Wings were up on the Ottawa Bears, up by 2 in the fourth quarter, and then the Bears just took over the steering wheel and said, "No, let me drive," and they did, and they won 16-11, 16, and I feel okay with. I don't know if that's okay to say okay with a loss, but I guess I'm okay with Bradley O'Neill stepping up. I take this season for what it is. I don't think this is going to be a playoff, but again, to see the improvement of Brendan O'Neill taking that next step, kind of happy with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I think it's worth pointing.
That is a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth pointing out a couple of things. Obviously, obviously Deacon not having to step up and play in net, because of the. We assume we assume Nick Damude served his suspension. Was handed a 1-game suspension from the misconduct for the fight he had with Rylan Hartley last week. That's obviously never a great situation to be in. To have to come in, and do that spot start duty. But I will give kudos to Philly for rallying, and this actually goes to a point with Ottawa. Ottawa has managed in every single game so far this season that they've played to allow their opponents to go on a run of at least 6 goals or more in every single game that they've played. So Philly's part of that group, with their run in the second half of the third quarter into the fourth quarter there. I think it could have been real easy for Philly, to kind of roll over, when they were down 9-4 in the third quarter. And we kind of said the same thing in the game against Rochester when Rochester was up big. So, I still think it goes to kind of our kind of collective viewpoint that the Wings are going to perform better in lower scoring, tight defensive type games, like the win they had against Colorado, that they're going to be able to excel better in those games. But at least now this game got to kind of that shootout sort of feel to it, and for them, for at least some of that second half, Philly was able to keep up and even take the lead there.
And listen, look, I didn't expect them to win. I was glad to see, like you just said, Mike, I'm glad to see them to give them the dogfight, give Ottawa, they push Ottawa to their limits. I expected at some point Jeff Teat was going to go off, which he did, not as far as scoring goals, but 8 assists. He had 3 assists in the fourth quarter. I expect he was going to get his some way somehow. But you had Rob Heller out there making plays and so forth. Riley O'Connor making big plays for them out there. So again, what the Wings need is other guys in other roles step up, and if they can do that somehow to manage this season for what it is, then so be it. But I mean, listen, like I said, Brandon O'Neill stepping up. It was a night where Joe Rustin-Terrence doesn't feel like he had to carry the load. Now, if you get a split combination of Jeff, a Joe Rustin-Terrence, a Brandon O'Neill, and maybe some Dalton Young get involved on the scoreboarding, I think this team would be okay. But that's just me being optimistic. But I expect one of those guys to kind of ball out, and the other guys kind of not be there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't argue with that. Certainly a little bit of offense missing. Production missing from their forwards. I mean, Rustin-Terrence had 6 assists, but no goals. Blaise Riordan just 1 and 2. And
another good day for Fernando, right?
Yeah, 2 and 2, but not a good day overall from the transition. They got a goal from Dustin Berghoff, and that was pretty much it. Nothing from Patrick Foley, no points for Liam Patton. Davis Allen got an assist, but nothing from Pace, nothing from Wagner. That's McCannell didn't play, but yeah, they were hurting a bit, I think, and those, we always talk about. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 transition goals that can mean the difference in a game.
Absolutely
true.
You finally got Caputo back in the lineup, and he had a goal and 3 assists. So that's a bright spot right there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be tough. So you take this loss for what it is. You go into a little bit of a break, and you got to prepare yourself and really examine. But what's about to come in here on January 9th, and it's Rochester. So again, this is you had a taste of blood. You have to get ready for that squad. So we're seeing more production from Eric Fennell, who, like I said, to me has been another big plus for the Wings. We know he hasn't really been playing all that. He's missed a year, but him kind of adding to the scoreboard has been significantly great for this team. But you're going to, like I said, you're going to need some guys other than Brandon O'Neill to kind of put up 3 to 4 goals a game. And I don't see anyone on this roster who's capable of doing that. Like I said, we can all get excited for the Dustin Berghoffs, the Blaise Riordan come up here with a timely goal here and there. A Phil Caputo will give you a goal here and there, but we need consistency, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with Mike, like in the sense that I do agree, that a couple guys maybe do have to step up on offense, but 1 transition goal is not going to win you any games, or even if you got guys stepping up, you need at least some transition game there, especially the way this league's going, where you're seeing more and more athletic defensemen who can just push the floor.
True. And again, I mean, I don't want to make excuses for him either. And Deacon Knock, I mean, when was the last time he really got to see, live bolts that came at him? I mean, this was the first time in a long time that he got, he made 11 stops, 37 saves out of, 11 shots that went by, or 16 shots that went by on him. So again, he could have done better, and so forth. But again, you have the combination. You're playing against good players, like you just said, Shawn. This league is not easy. There's no gimmies in this schedule that's coming up. You're going to play. I mean, just think about it. You got Connor Fields coming up after Connor Fields. You got Mitch Jones after Mitch Jones, and then I think you catch a little bit of a break with Calgary, if I'm not mistaken. But this league is not. There's no gimmies in this one.
Yes, I see. Even Calgary, the way they've been playing,
Calgary's having a tough time right now. They're down 4-2 right now to Buffalo in the second.
Yeah, and how about not trying switch over? How about the NLL getting some ESPN loving all weekend? It's on ESPN now. Loving that.
Yeah, let's hope this kind of keeps going in with that the deal with Octagon that they just put together.
Okay.
We'll get some more games on linear networks and not just have to, get ESPN Plus or, wait till the next day to watch it on NLL Plus.
Exactly.
So I mean, look, I get it though. Going back to talking about the Wings, I get it. Like Ian Rubel wants to make this like this old Eagles regime of physical defense, smash mouth defense, but we need an era of, and I'm all excited for that, but we need some guys who can be playmakers and a difference maker. And I don't know, other than on paper, Brandon O'Neill can be the difference maker. I mean, again, like I said, we're dealing with a seasoned veteran, Joe Russell Terrence, who had 6 assists rather. You need someone else to step up there, and so forth. So we're going to have to see who can answer the call.
Our plus is number one.
Yeah.
Their face-off man wasn't outdueled. It was 16-16. Number 2, yes, they did give up power play goals, but they scored 3 power play goals on 3 power plays. That's something we didn't talk about a lot last year because they weren't doing it. They were taking a lot of penalties and not getting anything in return. At least this one pretty much worked out to a schmoz. If they're going to be taking it, at least they're getting it back on their own power play. Now, if they could be a little more disciplined, that'd be even better.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and we've seen Ottawa do this before, right? Where they get behind, then they just find that extra gear in the fourth. So, I mean, I don't think you can kind of, not all, even though you lost, not all is lost in this. I think there's a lot of positives still to come out of this.
No, and to me, and you're right, Shawn. It's weird. It's like a weird loss. Like the loss I expect to happen, but the growth within the team, I'm happy with. Mm-hmm. Do I expect this team to have a run at the cup? No, they're not on the Rochester level, but they are a team that you just want to see the building pieces, what you could build around, what needs to be here for the future, what doesn't need to be here for the future. All those intangibles and more. Like I said, does the schedule get any easier? I'm looking at their schedule now. You got Rochester, the Desert Dogs, and then you got a back-to-back with the Seals, and then you finish it off with Buffalo. It's not going to be pretty, but that is a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet of any stretch. But again, just to see the growth and players stepping up and elevating their games, I'll be okay with it.
I agree. We talk about teams like Vegas and even to an extent Toronto who have rebuilt. Really, Philadelphia goes in that thing because there's an entirely different conglomerate of people in this squad They revamped the defense. They lost big pieces of their offense. So, it's going to take a little bit of time. But I think the nucleus that's there is stuff that is build worthy. It's not one of those, well, we're bringing it up. No, we're tearing it down. No, we're bringing it up. No, there are building blocks there that they can really build around for long-term success.
And you're absolutely right too, Gary. I mean, it's a long-term success. Again, we just saw one of Brendan O'Neill's best games, last night. We saw one of his best games.
Yeah.
So, and we know Paul Day, he's not going to sit on his hands and let this go. He's going to take what he needs and work around it. He's one of the GMs I know that it's constantly busy. He's constantly on the phone. He's constantly moving things in and out. He's constantly, training out draft picks and for other things. Like the guy's constantly, working. So Paul Day ain't going to sit around and let this thing completely fall on his face. I mean, he's going to try and, make some minor moves, maybe at the trade deadline and all those things. But right now, I mean, the key is rebuild. The key is building around your core group for next year and see what goes on from there. Like I said, I don't know if Paul Day made somebody in the NLL front office mad according to the schedule, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But no, I mean, honestly, and just like I said, and how much effect is the Ian Ruble message going to be with that smash mouth defense, and see how it plays out.
Very true. Now, I'm just looking at the scoreboard here. It's 4-3 now, Buffalo and Calgary. It's going to be a hell of a second half when this thing is rolling. Wow. But I totally expect Calgary to win because I picked Buffalo and my pick comes. You could actually hear it.
Is that a nice basement, Mike? Some of us might be living down.
Yeah.
Or
That's my pick.
terrible. Yeah, I don't know how I made out this weekend.
What I can see is, Shawn was with me.
Yeah.
We looked at yours in just a minute.
We're all there, huh? We're all in the basement. Did we all do bad this week? Gosh.
Yeah, right now.
Everyone
Right now, Gary, Shawn, and I are all 1-3 pending this game tonight, and you and Caden are 2-2.
Our victory was
pending
Ottawa.
this game. So
Wow. Yes.
We all have Buffalo.
Wow.
I have Calgary.
We all have Buffalo, so
Except Mike.
you.
I have Calgary.
You Calgary.
It's
Mike.
The Mike didn't fall for the trap.
I went rogue this week. I'm going to pay for it.
It doesn't look like it. No.
It doesn't look like it's going to be that bad.
Yeah, let's.
It doesn't look like it's going to be all that bad. No.
No, man.
Me, on the other hand, I'm looking to a 1-4 this week. That should bring me right back down to earth. My who you got is who you haven't got.
Yeah, I couldn't pick Philly this week. Again, as much as it pains me to take a Zach Higgins team, but when you're loaded with talent, when I see Jeff Teat next there, a Philadelphia wing, destroyer, I gotta go with common sense. And that guy, like I said, he's not scoring like he was, but man, he could facilitate. He's just using his vision. He was just passing the rock. How do you want me to destroy you? I don't even need to score goals. Here, I'll give it to this guy. I'll give it to that guy. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we need, I mentioned it earlier, the Black Bears have allowed now a run of 6+ goals by their opponent in every single game so far. That's not sustainable, for a team that's, still looking to, get to the playoffs and kind of get over that hump and be considered, among the upper echelon. That's oof.
Yeah.
I guess I bring up those fourth quarter comebacks,
I mean,
right?
yeah.
Like, you can't, eventually that's going to come back and bite you. You can't do it every time.
Yeah,
it's really something they need to address, and it's not for lack of play by certain players. Certainly Higgins making timely saves here and there. Luke Magnan's having a good year. Brent Noseworthy's having actually a really good year for them. Callum Jones is living up to his top 3 draft pick. I guess another player I would note is Nicholas Volkov, who they got from Oshawa, is having a pretty good season as well. But something needs to, they need to find a way to kind of stop that bleeding when the other team turns it on.
Yeah, that's true.
Ryan, welcome.
Ryan, what's up, my guy? No, it's yeah. Listen, you can't be playing like that. Like, you're lucky the Philadelphia Wings are a feasible opponent. Like, yeah, you can afford to make that mistake, and then like Shawn said earlier, you could switch things into the 4th gear and take over a game because of the talent that you have. But the defense and the goaltending has got to be better. I mean, like you said, if you're going to have patches, during the game where you're going to get lit up, teams like Rochester, once they hit you to the canvas, you ain't getting off the canvas. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna put you there and leave you there.
Because they haven't played Rochester, Saskatchewan, Buffalo, Halifax yet.
No,
so
and those days are coming.
It's definitely something they need to look at. It's a direct reason why they lost to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They could be 3-1 right now. And really, honestly, it's a direct reason why they lost to San Diego too. This team could be undefeated if they could fix that problem.
Yeah, it just to me, there's pockets of games where they're leaving patches dry, and the opposing teams are taking full liberties on it, and they're finding ways to score. They're being creative. And like I said, for a guy who's covered Higgins here for a while, I know him sometimes he can get into that phase. If one goes by, it turns into a snowball effect. 9 will roll by him. There's times where he can play, like he can turn to be a brick wall and stay that way. But if you can you can find one crack in his wall, you have a good chance of making a hole in the wall. So those are the ups and downs about Higgins. But like I said, they're stacked enough though on offense that kind of can bail them out. But like I said, they haven't seen a legit contender. If that's what they want to get ready to stack themselves with, they better be careful because, like I said, Rochester's, like Mike, you mentioned, the Buffaloes, the Halifaxes, the Rush.
Ottawa did play the Rush, and that was a 4th quarter comeback. Again, it was same thing with Philadelphia. It's those 4th quarter comebacks the same thing, like Mike said, Saskatchewan, I think, on a 7-goal run and got way ahead. It was that 4th quarter comeback. But again, I agree. The Buffaloes, the Halifaxes, the Rochesters, if you do that, they're going to put their foot on your throat.
Mm-hmm. You won't. There's going to be no breathing room with those guys, man. So. Is this telling me that this team is just going to be a middle of the pack team, maybe a 6th seed at best? They'll be a talent of making to the playoffs probably, and it's crazy because I'm a big Jeff Teef guy. I like his game. I like to see him make a splash, but I from what I'm seeing now, from the little sample size I got from the Ottawa Bears, they're not going to be making much of a run. Not like this.
Right. Just for you keeping track at home, it's now 4-4 with 3 minutes to go in the second.
That's looking pretty good, Mike.
Mike, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
The jinx of putting the jersey on my door's working. The jinx of putting the Buffalo jersey on my door's working.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I just went old school. I took a Minnesota Swarm jersey. I took an Arizona Sting jersey. I went old school, just trying to put this out of my memory. Go back a few years.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun though.
Yeah, this will be. I mean, really, we'll have to see what happens in the second half here with this Buffalo game. I mean, as much as Calgary might shut them out in the second quarter, it's what happens in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter.
It is Buffalo after all, yeah.
Dictate.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Buffalo. At any point,
So-
they're just going to go on a run on you, right? Like,
You know it's coming at some point.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When? And how much time do you have left to come back from it?
Yep.
All right, Pat.
All right, gents.
As always, Happy New Year, sir.
Same thing. I'll see you
Yeah.
guys next year, and we'll get caught up and everything. And maybe in 2 weeks, I won't be stress free. But I imagine in the next, till early February, I'll be losing my mind. So yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready for the torment and torture that this team's about to set me for.
Now, don't worry, the Rock aren't exactly keeping me sane either. So
Yeah, no.
Rock or the Firewolves are keeping me level.
Plummeting down. So
It's
all right,
tough to
guys.
be a Southern Ontario fan here right now.
No, there's no direction, huh? There's just no direction. Where'd it
Just
go?
down, just down. It's the only direction there. And we're not really falling. We're just rocketing down. We've tied a boulder to our waist to make sure we go down quickly.
Well, when you get down there, we get that block of cement tied to your feet, jump off the diving board. You'll see me right next to you, just going to. I'll be there waiting for you. And so so I mean, you don't worry, I'll be right there. So, all right, guys, have a good
Well,
one.
Pat,
I'll
as
catch
always,
you
man,
guys
thank
later.
you very much.
Yep, same.
Alrighty.
So, bye, guys.
See ya.
Take care.
Yeah.
I was Pat Bernard with the Wings Report. Things are all rosy in Philadelphia, right?
Mhm.
It's not always sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. Maybe sunny, but there's a chance of rain in there. We had one more game to talk about that isn't in progress, and this one caught me totally by surprise too. As if you read my my pick'ems, I really thought that Colorado would be more interested. I guess that's why they're so quick to make the Hannah trade. Mike, what do you think?
They certainly could have used them last night.
Well, they could have used anybody last night, really.
Yeah.
They just took a team that was on life support, it seemed, and made them look like they were cup ready for the cup finals. And all the people who needed to score scored. Lyle Thompson, he got back on track with a goal and 3 assists in this game. But we also got, Shane Jackson with a goal and 4 assists. But we got a number of guys in there that were placed in this lineup. Michael Grace had a goal. Brian Cole got back on the score sheet. Richie Connell. Connell?
I think it's Connell.
With a pair of goals.
Yeah.
Mike Manley had a goal. Wow. Jordan McIntosh, he is becoming a scoring machine week in and week out now. And Caleb Benedict back to making me look like I'm smart again. Remember, I've been touting him for the last couple of years. He's doing a damn near impossible, making me look smart. So, Buffalo's got the lead, guys. Sorry, Mike.
Plenty of time.
You're right. There's 10 seconds left in the half. Anyways, for Colorado, it was very quick. Very quick. I can say that Owen Ron got a goal. I can say that Connor Knock got his first goal. And Dylan McIntosh got a goal. The only bright spot in their lineup was Ryan Lee was in on all 3 goals with 3 assists. Other than that, really, I don't have a lot to say about Colorado. Their shots on goal weren't many. Ryan Lee had the most shots on goal with 7 on the night.
Yeah, their scratches were Braden Saris and Thomas Vella, which maybe is a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
As far as their offense, I mean, we saw plenty of. In addition to Owen Ron, I think this might have been Owen Ron's first game this year.
Right.
But you had Ben McDonald, who's kind of a depth righty, and you had Jalen Chaster playing quite a bit out the front door.
Right.
So,
I'm just wondering what
Jameson
happened to
Bucktooth
them.
also had his NLL debut. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious what happened to them at the half. It's 4-3 at the half, and they never came out for the second half. Georgia just absolutely dominated the second half, especially the third quarter.
yeah, no goals after that. So,
Yeah.
No, no, they're in Firewolf territory here with about 35 minutes of no scoring. But that's a pretty potent offense to be absolutely held nothing, not silent, nothing. And
Against the team that we've been saying, where's their offense gone? All of a sudden they have a breakout game. Bizarre world.
but is that a function of this kind of revamped, younger Georgia defense? They've shed some veterans, and they've got a lot of talent in their recent draft picks.
It's very possible. The regular guys like Seth and Chepin and that they played strong games as well. But this was you would expect to see 7 goals from maybe Lyle and maybe 4 goals from Shane. This was spread out all around the lineup, which makes it all the more impressive that they're finding ways, because they've been pretty anemic the last couple of weeks, to actually get over this and have everybody be a part of it, not rely on one guy. Maybe that's the new phase of the offense, is it has to be by committee for this team to work. That's what I'm gathering. Because I say, really, even if you look at the shots on net, Nolan Byrne and Shane Jackson had the most shots. After that, it drops off to Brian Cole having 6. Caleb Benedict had 9 too, sorry. But Brian Cole had 6. Lyle had 5. And then you go down to 2 and 1 for everybody else.
And that's uncharacteristic. Lyle having just 5 shots on.
Yeah.
But him also with 1 goal, 3 assists. That reminds me of the Buffalo game, where he really wasn't in on any of the offense. Dished it off, had a couple of assists in that loss, but doesn't seem to be all that interested in getting pounded in front of the net as he has in years past. Is just a little passing phase, or is this the new Lyle Thompson game? It certainly seems to be the new Lyle Thompson game.
Like you said, Gary, if you're scoring by committee, like how many times have we seen where everything goes through Lyle? If that's not the case, you have to be scoring by committee. Like, you can't just rely on Lyle to get it done.
It's funny though, this is the first time where he doesn't have any of his brothers around. There's always been one of them in and around, whether it's been Jeremy, whether it's been Miles, whether it's been all of them. This is the first time he's working without them. Not to say that he would rely on them, but he would know where they were all the time and would always have a pass without him to worry about it. Whereas now, he might actually have to be trying to figure out where these guys are or going. Just being devil's advocate. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah.
Is it part of his reinvention?
Yeah, maybe. And, you usually have that automatic chemistry with your brothers, but now.
Well, let's go a little further on into the season in hypothetical.
But shouldn't he have chemistry at this point with Shane
Well, he
Jackson,
should.
Brian
Oh,
Cole,
yeah.
Jordan
Figure.
McIntosh.
Oh yeah, he
And
should.
they
Yeah.
all play on the other side. They're all lefties, so
Right. Let me even go a step further. If this is the reinvention, would this not make you go, if you were part of the Georgia management, and if you were trying to unload him for all the picks you can get, if he's doing 1 goal, 3 assists, 2 goals, 4 assists, and not doing the Lyle things and being dominant, which would gain you the most back for your buck? Because that kind of makes it obsolete. If you can't get full value for him, why bother putting him out there?
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Other than he might just bolt at the end of the year anyway.
First thing I'd ask is, does Lyle command what Jack Hanna just yielded for Vegas?
Not the way he's playing now. Lyle Thompson old gets that, and probably somebody current.
I guess the other thing I look at too is just the
let me
situation
ask,
in Georgia.
What would you offer for Lyle Thompson right now? If John Arlotta's on line 1, he says, I'm shopping around Lyle Thompson. What do you give me?
I'd go at least 1 first rounder.
I would go with 2 firsts, but it'd be 2 separate drafts.
Okay, because Hannah's is too. I think Hannah's is successive.
Yeah.
It's the compensatory
Successive, but it's also a second round pick also.
Yeah,
it's
and
the
a
first
second round
rounder in
pick.
22nd, and then it's the second rounder in 28, I believe. So it's 26, 27, 28.
Right. So maybe a first and a second right now is what I'd be offering, but nothing more. I would not
scratch my head
I would
about
not mortgage my future for this right now.
If Georgia's still a playoff team, do you risk getting rid of a piece like Lyle? Just for the
Are they still a
experience?
playoff team
I
without him?
I don't think you can.
Are they still a playoff team without him?
When's the trade deadline?
February.
Early March?
End of February, I think. March?
Late February?
Probably.
That's what I'm just thinking. Like,
February
yeah,
is
sit
what?
on it just a little bit more to
That might be
see
the
where
beginning
you're
of
sitting on
March.
the standings, whether you're going to be building or not. Like,
Sorry, I'm just poking through the schedule here to see where the end of February falls. If it's that early, we're talking week 14, week 15 is the end of February. And remember, week 14 is that huge week that has 10 games.
Right.
right.
Last year was March 10th. So I'm assuming it's somewhere in the neighborhood of that now this time around.
Yeah, I mean, if it's around there, I mean, March 10th is a Tuesday. That's right after week 15.
Right.
I think by then you'd have a pretty good idea where you're sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the year previous was March 12th. So it's in and around that week there. So, well, you would know if you're a playoff team or not, for sure.
By then, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, especially if it's after week 14. That's such a huge week. I mean, there's so many teams with double headers.
Right.
That weekend.
Mm-hmm. It just has me shaking my head a little bit. And, like everything else, it's probably all for nothing. Because we were worried about Georgia's offense altogether, and it seemed to have found its way this week. Now, will it continue? That's the question du jour. But
that's
they have. I think they have a.
Even then, I mean, it's 12 goals. I mean, it's not like they lit the lamp a ton.
Yeah. By the way, the 17 goals that Vegas scored is the most in team history. Just to show you, the arrow's going upward. And that's a team that looks like it can do it a lot. And they're big. That's the other thing, too. They're deceivingly big, whereas Georgia isn't. Brian Cole is. But the rest of them not that big.
That's why I look at that 12 goals. I mean,
Taylor
it can win
Benedict's
you
ball,
games. I'm not saying 12 goals can't win you
ball.
games, but it's going to be nip and tuck. Like,
Yeah, it's right at that edge.
yeah.
It was a year or two ago they were kind of putting cutoff at 13. It's like if you weren't scoring 13, you likely weren't winning. So just looking at Georgia's schedule real quick, they're off next week.
They have Colorado the week after.
Yeah, so rematch there. Then they have that game against Calgary and Edmonton in week 8.
Mm-hmm.
At Toronto in week 9. At Halifax in week 10.
Ouch.
Hosting Vegas in week 11.
Ouch.
And then they're at Calgary in week 12. Which is crazy because they play Calgary twice, once in Calgary and once in Edmonton. I mean, there's the doubleheader with Calgary. It might be a little concerning. Halifax and Vegas are going to be some tough games, but I see no reason why they can't be at or around 500 by the time they get to that week 14. Oh, week 14, they have the home and home doubleheader with Philly.
Ooh.
That could be what the doctor ordered.
And that's that's for what we think is the trade deadline. They don't play in week 15.
They take both of those. They could be, there is. That could be sitting in a playoff spot.
And then after what we think is the trade deadline, hosting Vancouver, hosting Halifax, at Ottawa.
It's a good end.
So they still have some tough games to end the season. Hosting San Diego.
The end of the season.
They have Rochester twice in week 21. They have another home and home doubleheader in week 21 with Rochester.
Man. Right.
So the back end of their schedule is kind of brutal.
That's going to be an interesting week coming up here anyways. We have the back end of the home and home with Halifax and Saskatchewan, which is pivotal since Saskatchewan won this week. I can't see Halifax going down and being a 500 team, but Saskatchewan playing 60 minutes is a different team than Saskatchewan playing 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Ottawa and Oshawa, somewhere down the line, Oshawa's got to wake up. Is this the week? They're too good a team to be held to 5 goals a game.
Well, Ottawa hopes they get held to 5 goals a game because they have their draft pick, first rounder next year. So,
well, hence the Vegas and Buffalo. This is another one to circle because the Vegas team I seen yesterday, from top to bottom, matches very well with this Buffalo team, and they're younger. Rochester with the newly revamped Colorado. Hopefully they get a few more goals than they did in this one. Otherwise, this is over in the first. Because this Rochester team is some explosive. Literally, they're like Buffalo 2.0 at the moment.
Yeah.
They were already saying last year that this was the closest to a winner without winning. And with the tweaks and moves that Dan Carey pulled and what we've seen so far, that everybody is on the same page. And that's kudos to Mike Hazen. That's kudos to Pat O'Toole and everybody else involved. That this is a very, very humming, like a vacuum humming squad. And everybody does everything for everybody. Very unselfish group. And then we have Calgary and San Diego. And the Calgary team that I'm watching tonight would look like they would give San Diego a run for their money. Because they don't know when to quit.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo has a 5-4 lead at halftime right now, but those goals, 2 are from Clay Scanlon and 2 are from Nick Weiss.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So nothing from Dane Smith or Josh Byrne yet. So
I'd say the one thing Calgary does have is a strong defense and a good transition game. And some guys who are going underneath the radar. The Noah Mannings, Hayden Dixon,
Braden Maillet.
Braden Maillet, yeah.
Braden Maillet is something else, isn't he? We knew that already from what we saw in the summer here. But to see him in NLL form doing the same thing is, A, is heartwarming, and B, this is a long time in coming, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not underestimate the fact. Let's not underestimate the fact that these guys now don't have to necessarily defer to the likes of Curtis Dixon, Dane Doby.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing too, right? They can actually all let their wings.
That they're being handed the reins to run the offense. It's Pace, it's Tanner Cook, it's Hayden Dixon. You know,
they don't have that big name guy. They just kind of do it by committee, right?
They need to too, yeah.
Well, they have a chance to actually let their open up their wings and fly, and wherever they go, and they're expected to make mistakes.
Then they've got transition goals already too from Matsuoka, from Kyle Pepper. So,
oh yeah, they got a good transition game, no doubt.
Well, Kyle Pepper, that comes from a good lineage.
Oh yeah,
it's a great family for lacrosse. So there's a lot of unsung names there that can really do a lot of damage, and we already know what a Hayden Dixon can do. So I again, it's like we were talking about with Philadelphia, only to an extra extent, is when nothing is expected of you, there is no pressure. And these guys are expected just to be able to gel together and learn they shall. And I think that they're going to put together, the second half, who knows if they're able to shut down Buffalo for a couple of minutes here in the first, couple of minutes. This could be a whole interesting event because their defense is strong enough to keep this to be a very tight game.
And like we mentioned before too, I believe we talked about last week with Aiden Walsh. I mean, he's not looking over his shoulder anymore, and he just can play loose.
No, he's able to play. And he looks like he's very comfortable in that role now. Where every
time Vancouver, where he's looking over his shoulder, saying, "Okay, when do they trade for Christian Del Bianco?" So I'm just
well, even when they had Connor O'Toole behind him, or before that, it was Aaron Bold. It was any mistake he made. Am I being pulled now? Now he's allowed to make the mistakes, and he's allowed to learn from the mistakes and move forward and try things and be himself and play relaxed. And be the goalie he can be, the one they drafted over in Vancouver. So that's a big burden off his chest when you're not looking at everything being under a microscope. Nobody can work like that.
And it's really showing now, right? Like he's
pretty good goalie, eh?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the people in Buffalo are saying that right now. But, there's still 30 minutes to go, so wait to be seen. Anyways, just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on YouTube, as well as on www.streampunkentertainment.com. Please check us 3-4-5 times a day as we are up to date, as the news is always changing, and we have our fingers on the pulse of the situation. It is our privilege and our pleasure to give you all the information up to date and accurate. That'll more or less do us for the week. Shawn, let's go to last words with you.
Yeah, just looking forward to next week. I think there's, as you mentioned, kind of a ton of interesting games. I'm looking forward to a slugfest in Saskatoon Friday night
Yeah.
because there's going to be some chips on some shoulders in that home and home series. And then I'm looking at the Las Vegas Buffalo game too. I was really looking forward to seeing whether this is the real deal with Las Vegas and whether maybe we're seeing a bit of a slide with Buffalo.
Happy New Year, guys. Definitely, Sean. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially if Buffalo, loses this game to Calgary, see how they respond against the Vegas team that's, obviously trending upward and
they might be gripping their sticks a little bit heavier than.
Yeah.
That could be very, very interesting. I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Just as a scheduling note, New Year's Day, of course, is on Thursday. So NLL Lacrosse Talk this week is on Friday. And our special guest this coming week is none other than Kristen Del Bianco. So 4 o'clock Friday for NLL Lacrosse Talk for this 1 week. We did a show earlier today with Graham Bergsma, and if you haven't had a chance to watch it, it's on YouTube now as well as on all the lacrosse pages. It'll be up on Spotify, I believe on Tuesday, because our show will be up on tomorrow morning on Spotify. So spaced out for just your listening pleasure. But again, I want to thank everybody for being with us week in and week out, and for staying with us late into your Sunday evening. We appreciate everything. As always, I want to remind everybody to keep their sticks high, keep their spirits higher until we meet each other again next Sunday, 8 p.m. Have a great week. Happy New Year, and see you 2026.